Hey everyone, welcome back to Bird Talk with Terance Mathis. I'm William Brandon. Please make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel at Atlanta Sports Unlimited and turn on your notifications so you don't miss an episode. This week's episode, we are continuing our discussion about NFL free agency and answering a few fan questions and, of course, Terance's throwbacks. Terance, there's been some more cuts across the NFL since our last episode.
Yeah.
Big name players moving from former Houston Texans defensive end J.J. Watt to most recently Giants wide receiver Golden Tate.
Right.
What's going on out there?
You know what? This is probably the most interesting offseason so far that I have witnessed in my NFL lifetime.
Wow.
With all the moves, with the quarterbacks, controversies, or suggestions on wanting to be traded and all these things. This is interesting, man, and big time players that you can start a franchise with, and we're going to get into that part of it. This is going to be fun because what I want to do is challenge our viewers on putting together, if you had to start your own franchise, what players that's in the free agent market right now would you start your franchise with? And then as we go on, weeks as we go on and we get closer to the draft, I want you to keep your new franchise team and then draft players onto that team to make your own franchise. This is going to be interesting. This is going to be really interesting. And with that being said, let's segue into free agency right now. There's a lot of big names out there that you can start a franchise with. Okay, here we go. I'm going to start my new franchise in San Antonio. The reason why I'm going to start it in San Antonio because of the fact they got the Alamo Dome right there. You have conference, it's conference central for San Antonio. It's conventions, and then there's people in and out of San Antonio. Is a beautiful city. It's easy to get to. Now, here we go. Are you guys ready for this? If I had to start a franchise, let's go offensively first. I'm going to go with the big boys up front. We're going to start with left tackle Trent Williams for 49ers. We know that he's championship caliber. Then I'm going to go with Brandon Scherf from the Washington football team at left guard. Okay. Oh, God, on this offensive line, the oldest guy is going to be Trent Williams at 32, and everybody else is under 30. Then I'm going to go with Corey Linsley from the Packers. Okay. Center. I don't know if they want to let him go. I know Aaron Rodgers is going, you can't take him. And then I'm going to go with Joe Thurney from the Pats. Come on now. He's played with Tom Brady. He knows championship caliber play. And then I'm going to go with a young guy, Taylor Morton, out of Carolina Panthers. And that's going to be my starting offensive line. Then we're going to go to quarterback, which I see you looking. Who would you start your new franchise with at quarterback? I'm going to go with Dak Prescott. That's my guy. Right now, that's my guy, free agent out there right now that I want up under the center, that I know that's going to be a general, that's going to be a leader, and that's going to make plays for me. That's going to be my guy. I'm going to get to the glamour positions in a little bit. Then we're going to go tight end. I'm going to go with Kyle Rudolph, who just got released by the Vikings, 10-year vet guy. Been to the Pro Bowl, been all pro, all those things. I'm going to be with him. But then I'm going to back him up with Hunter Henry from the Chargers. Young guy that can line up out wide. He can put his hand in the ground. He can be in the slot. And he's a big physical, fast specimen of a tight end that we can start our franchise with. Now let's go with those fast speed guys. Here's my 4x100 relay team. Ready?
Yeah.
Chris Godwin from the Bucks is going to be one. Allen Robinson from the Bears. Then I'm gonna go with Sammy Watkins from the Chiefs. Okay. Then I'm gonna go with a veteran guy that needs a breath of fresh air, that's ready to move on to greener pastures on the other side of the fence, and that's AJ Green. Now let's go to the position that's gonna keep the chains moving. I'm gonna start with Aaron Jones for the Packers.
Yep.
And then I'm gonna go with Chris Carson from the Seahawks.
Okay.
Those are my two running backs. Now, listen, I dare you to put together another all free agent team with your new franchise to compete against that offense. I don't think anybody gonna be able to compare to me what I just did, but I want you people out there to try to do that, and we'll come back weeks from now and we can talk about it. You can send it in, send your picks in for what you want your starting offense to look like, and we can compare. Now let's go to the other side of the ball, which is
defense.
Oh my God, defense win championships. Ask the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Defense wins championships. Right up front, I'm going with Leonard Williams from the Giants. Ooh, right in the middle. And then I'm gonna go with a veteran guy, Sue from the Bucks.
Oh yeah.
He's gonna be there. So that Sue gives you that meanness, that toughness, that almost on the edge dirtiness that you need as on your defensive line. Then outside, I go with Shaq Barrett from the Bucks as the edge rusher, and then I go with Melvin Ingram from the Chargers as an edge rusher. Look at that, boy. Let me tell you, man. I can just rush those four and get pressure on the quarterback. I don't even have to blitz much at all. And then in middle linebacker, I know the Bucks is not going to let him go, but I would go with Levante David at middle linebacker. He's a guy who just won the championship. He's a young guy that plays very, very well. And then I'm going to go with a veteran at linebacker is KJ Wright from the Seahawks. Ooh, yeah. You going, we can't move the ball against this defense. And then I'm going to go with a young guy, Jaylen Brown from the Titans.
Okay.
He can run. He can cover tight ends. He goes sideline to sideline. I love him. Then in my secondary, you might shake your head a little bit, but just stick with me. Just stick with me for a little bit. I'm going to go with Richard Sherman at the left corner. I know he's 32 years old, coming off some injuries whatsoever, but he's a savvy guy. And he's a guy that you want in your locker room and in your meeting rooms. And then behind him, I'm going to go with the young guy, Troy Hill, who played well with the Rams.
Yeah.
He's played very, very well with the Rams, and he'll help out. And Richard Sherman is there to help mold him, make him better than what he is right now. Then on the other side, you're going to shake your head with this, Patrick Peterson, another guy that's plus 30. But he's a savvy guy. Another guy that's going to be good in the locker room for you and good on Sundays for you. And then Shaquille Griffin from the Seahawks behind him. Now you got guys that have played at the highest level, that's played on championship caliber teams, playing in your secondary. And then that safety, Marcus May. When Adams left and went to Seattle, He stepped his game up. Now he's that next dude that you want at safety. And that's who I want. And Justin Simmons for the Broncos. Another guy that's been a Pro Bowl caliber player that's gonna go sideline to sideline for you and hit you. Now, we talked about this, and I love this team. This is my San Antonio Rough Riders. That's my new NFL franchise right there. That's them. And fans, go ahead, match that. But you cannot pick the same guys I picked. You got to pick a whole different group. So
that's gonna be tough.
That's look. I got first pick because that's what happens when you start a new franchise. You get to pick from the best, and then everybody else picks whatever else left after.
Let me ask you this: so none of the Falcon free agents like Keanu, any of them wouldn't make your team then? So
no, right now they're not even. Really, it's funny is that none of their free agents are even on anybody's top 50 list of free agents. So, that's good for the Falcons because now you don't have, is Keanu, is his market value high enough as one of the top 5 safeties in the league? Right now, it is not. So you may be able to get a bargain with signing him back.
Well, I also want to tell the fans there's some more people out there. Even so, he didn't take everybody.
I didn't take everybody.
Even the Falcons' division rival, the Saints, they just cut 2 tight ends, Jared Cook and Josh Hill. I know JJ Watt, he's now gone, but
Right.
I hear that Delaney Walker will possibly be cleared to
Yeah.
return in 2021.
Yep.
And there's even been reports that the Ravens are possibly considering moving on from offensive tackle Orlando Brown. I mean, that's not concrete yet, but that would be.
Yeah. There's gonna be some dudes out there. So right now, with all these guys out there, you have opportunity to pick players in the draft for a need basis
Mhm.
and financial. You see what I'm saying? So now you don't really have to go out and sign a edge rusher or offensive tackle or a quarterback early to because that's going to eat up a lot of your cap. So you can kind of wait if you go out into this free agent market and have an equivalent of a first round player in free agency, but with experience. And and that's what I would do. But right now it's quiet in Flowery Branch, which scares me. I don't, I guess you don't want to show your hand whatsoever, but at the end of the day, sometimes you got to just jump off the cliff and fly and
Yeah.
just take a leap of faith and go get some guys. You don't be afraid to do what you feel that's best for the organization, win football games. It's not about popular opinion. It's not about that right now for the Falcons. It's about what we need to put together for what we have, which is we have a ready-made division championship football team, but we need some pieces to
Mhm.
help us get to where we want to go. So it's okay if you say, hey, I'm trying to do it right now. It's okay, but long as you draft wisely for the future.
Let me ask you, like from a player perspective, during the free agency period right now, what is it like for a player? Like, what can they expect, and when can they start to feel comfortable, maybe that they're going to get another job or whatnot? Like,
Well, I was a free agent at one time.
mhm,
People don't realize I came to Atlanta as to the Falcons as a free agent.
mhm.
And I visited some teams. There were some teams that was interested in. That's when you know that you're gonna land somewhere, but you
Yeah,
just don't know is the amount of teams that show interest. I had about 5 or 6 teams that were interested and flew me in. About 3, 4 teams flew me in and was interested in whatsoever. And that's you're just trying to find the right fit. For me, you got to understand, for me as a free agent, I was not a starter. I played, I don't know, maybe 15, 20 plays a game, average 20 plus, 20 to 25 catches a year, whatever it may have been. But for me, it was just trying to find a fit where I could be a starter and play and show my worth.
yeah,
And it wasn't about money whatsoever. It was about getting an opportunity to become a starter and help a football team win games. And then if I produced, the money would come. But you have players in the free agency right now that are former All Pro, former Pro Bowl players
yeah.
that's that has made a lot of money so far. So how do you balance that? As me as a free agent now, if I've been to the playoffs, if I've been to the championship game, if I've been to the Super Bowl, and if I made a whole lot of money, right now it's two things. If I've done all that championship, Super Bowl, Pro Bowl, All Pro, and I haven't made money yet, it's about the money.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So if I if I played in those games and been all that All Pro and then Pro Bowl and made a whole lot of money, it's just trying to sustain.
yeah,
you know Now here's a place where you've been drafted in the first round and you played and you know you made a whole lot of money, but you haven't been a Pro Bowler, you haven't been in the playoffs, you haven't been in a championship game. Now you're trying to find that team where, okay, I've made my money, now it's time to win. And you're seeing that. Let me tell you who's changed the scenario is Tom Brady has
yeah.
changed the scenario. Hey, I've done all that, but I still want to win. And it's not about the money. I just want to continue to win. So let me find a place. I think those free agents that it's about the money. Once that contract it's signed, I think they're not as hungry. I'm not saying all,
Yeah.
some is not as hungry as they were uh, before they became free agents.
Well, do you think that the Arizona Cardinals are a contender? And the reason why I say that is because J.J. Watt kind of said he wanted to go to a contender, but he ended up going to Arizona for looks like 2-year deal, 31 million, including incentives, which is maybe 23 million guaranteed. So it seems like it ended up being more about the money than it actually did about being with a winning team at this point.
Well, what was the Arizona's record? They go 8-8.
Either 8-8 or 7-9. Let me double
Well,
check.
the thing is, they second year with the head coach and your quarterback, Kyler Murray, they're getting better each year.
Mm-hmm.
And this year,
8-8. You're correct.
Yeah, 8-8 with JJ Watt. JJ Watt gives you another 2 games.
Yeah.
So now you're 10. You got 10 games.
Okay.
Now with your experience coming back whatsoever, you add a couple of pieces. You add a running back to the mix. Defensively, they're stout. You add a running back to the mix. You add a corner because you're gonna lose uh, your all pro corner. Um, there's another 2 games.
Okay.
They're a team that can be 10-12, 10 or 12 wins easily coming next year because of the excitement and the experience around the signing of JJ Watt.
And I think they already had a good leadership group there, but I think bringing him in, he's also a good leader. I mean, how important is that in the locker room and for a team?
You know what? That's very, very important. There's certain guys that um, just know how to motivate you, know how to get you going. I've been around a number of guys in my lifetime that was like that. Here in Atlanta, you had Craig Ironhead Hayward was one of those guys. All the things he went through when he was in Chicago, and then he gets his life together and he comes to Atlanta and does great things. Rest in peace. That was my big brother.
Mm-hmm.
You had guys, like Cornelius Bennett, who played in championships and Super Bowls whatsoever, that come over and they tell you how to become a professional. I played with Ronnie Lott in New York, who was the ultimate professional that helped me become a professional. There's things he's done with me and said to me, and things we've done together that helped mold me to become a professional. And then you look at individuals where uh, it's funny that one misstep or mishap can change how people think about you, see you, or feel about you.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm talking about Eugene Robinson.
Yeah.
We go to the Super Bowl. The night before the Super Bowl, the allegations was he solicited undercover female police officer, which ended up being dropped. People don't understand that it was dropped. It was fake. It was phony. It wasn't real. He was set up, but it happened. And Eugene would have to tell you, I can't speak for Eugene. Eugene would have to tell his story and his side of it and what he said that facilitated him being arrested, because um, you have to know Eugene.
Yeah.
Eugene is a fun-loving guy. He jokes, he plays, he whatsoever, and but he was a leader. He was a spiritual leader. He was a man of faith and uh, God-fearing man, and I love him like a brother. It's just unfortunate that happened, and it kind of put a put a little chink in the brand whatsoever. But to me, he's Eugene Robinson, the man. I love the man. Uh, and I'm always love the man, and I'm not gonna ever blame him for uh, losing a game,
Okay.
especially that being part of that Super Bowl game. I'm not gonna ever blame him for that because it wasn't just him. It was a lot of things that went on that week that was just not uncommon and habit that we were used to doing over the course of the season. So uh, everyone, you guys can be mad at Eugene, continue to be mad at Eugene, but that ain't he's not the reason. and anything that has happened, I have long forgave, um, because I would want to be forgiven if I had a misstep also, and we all would. So, Eugene, I love you, and I'm always love you like a brother.
Well, I'm glad you cleared it up because I was, curious myself to how that would maybe affect the players and how they looked at the situation overall, as if they took it as, yeah, that helped us lose or whatnot. But um, so that
Well,
there,
you still have some players that are upset about it now.
yeah.
After all these years,
Oh, okay.
there's some players that still really, really upset about it. Hey man, it's over. It's done
Yeah.
with. It happened. So what? Guess what? I got to play in a game that I wanted to play in, that I talked about since I was 6 years old. And
Hmm.
you ain't gonna take that away from me.
Hey, that's true.
Right.
Well, fans, and I'm gonna segue to the next segment because I know that's probably a question that fans probably wanted to know the answer to and maybe just didn't want to ask. So again, Terance doesn't mind answering your questions, fans. So be sure to ask them. This week we don't really have a question per se, more or less a comment from William Warren, and this was in regards to the last video, Terance's Bird Talk. He says, if the Falcons do draft the QB, you going to give him 13 years like Matt Ryan to be successful? That is, if you're into stats. Personally, I enjoy wins and championships. Another year for Ryan is another year delayed for the future success of this team.
Mm. That's you know what? That's a debate there. That is a strong debate. Now, understand this. I get it. The quarterback takes the blame. The head football coach takes the blame. When they're the only two individuals in the football organization, including the GM and the owner, that are labeled with wins and losses.
Yeah.
And I get that. And when the quarterback messes up, it's more glaring than any other position out there because everybody's eyes is on him. He, the center and the quarterback touches the ball more than anybody on the football field. They touch it every single offensive play. So I get it. Um, but here's the thing. You draft the quarterback at number 4. I get it. You mold him for a year or two or whatsoever to be your starter. I get it. But you got to understand this. 2, 3 years from now, Julio might not be there.
Yeah.
Hurst might not be there. Ridley becomes a free agent. So the thing is the Falcons got to continue to surround whoever playing quarterback with guys that's going to be there for at least 8 to 10 years so they can continue to win division championships, conference championships, and playing in Super Bowls. So whoever that quarterback is, now are you going to have room down the road to keep a Julio, to keep a Ridley, to bring in other guys, draft other guys highly offensively to be a part of this? You got to get a running back in a draft or in free agency. You have to. It's a must. You got to get another edge rusher if it's in free agency or in a draft. That's more cap space. At the end of the day, like I said, Falcons don't do the popular thing. Do what's best for the organization. And if drafting the quarterback at number 4 is best for the organization, do that.
Yeah.
But when you do that, all I say, make a plan. And I'm not disagreeing with anybody about Matt Ryan and being removed or got drafting a guy to play quarterback to replace him. I'm not going to argue that with you. But drafting a quarterback at number 4 is not going to solve all the answers for this Falcons football team.
That is facts.
You think of, yes, there are generational quarterbacks that get drafted that just changes a whole franchise around. But you got to understand those generational quarterbacks had defense behind them, and guys on the perimeter and guys to protect them. You got to understand that. So we got to fix. There's other places we got to fix before we get a quarterback to replace Matt Ryan.
I mean, yeah, Peyton Manning's first year, he was 3-13.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Well, and guess what they did? They put dudes around him after that.
they did.
And I get it. But who was the quarterback before
Was it
Peyton
Harbaugh?
Manning? Come on, man. That was an obvious replacement. It's guys, whatever the Falcons do, they're gonna do. Whatever they do, we're gonna have to live with it. So if it's a quarterback, it's a quarterback. If it's a edge rusher, if it's edge rusher. If it's an offensive lineman, shame on them. They should not draft the offensive lineman in the first round. No, don't do that. But if they go any other direction, it's gonna be best for the football team.
Okay. All right. Well, again, fans, make sure you send in your questions or comments so that Terance can answer. It's time for my favorite part of the show, Terance's throwbacks. What you got for us?
I'm going to take you back to, I think it was the year 92, 93, when the Georgia Dome opened. The first game, the Falcons against the New York Jets in the Dome. I was on that Jets team, by the way. Yeah. The first touchdown of the game, Michael Haynes. I think it was an 80-yard bomb. Wow. And that was a way to open the stadium, christen the stadium with number 81, Michael Haynes. Can you see the theme? 81s. That's 2 weeks in a row. Yes. Michael Haynes, number 81, catching a bomb against the New York Jets of the opening, the christening of the Georgia Dome.
Oh, wow. I know that was an amazing time. Did you ever think, though, that you would be back in there as a Falcon? Never probably crossed your mind.
It never crossed my mind. If I'm gonna tell you a quick story, a really, really quick story. When I was a senior in high school, I had an opportunity to go to Swanee, Georgia, and visit the Atlanta Falcons training camp, the camp facility. Yeah. Went out there on the field, and Steve Barkowski was still playing, and I was seeing him throwing bombs. Ooh, that ball looked beautiful in the air. I was like, God, dog. I mean, and watching these guys run, and I was amazed. So I got a chance to walk through the locker room whatsoever. I sat in a few lockers and whatsoever. I'm looking at all these guys, William Andrews, and all these lockers whatsoever. And I'm going, whoa. I said, one day I'm going to be in an NFL locker room. Lord and behold, I became a free agent. And I'm in that same locker room, signing my contract as an Atlanta Falcon. And I went, could you imagine this? I'm going 5 years ago, I was in this locker room. And now I'm an Atlanta Falcon in this locker room playing for this team.
That's wild. That
was wild, man. That was wild.
We got two throwbacks today. Real quick, while you're mentioning that, when you first played in the Dome, because I know what the Jets stadium was outdoors, right, in New York. Yeah. So what did you think when you first were like, man, this is amazing playing indoors? Or
well, that was, at the time, that was the state of the art facility. Mm-hmm. I think I played in the Astrodome. Oh my God. I'm telling my age.
Yeah, you dated yourself with that one.
I played in the Astrodome, and I thought that was amazing. But the Georgia Dome, the locker room, for me, I was in awe because I'm a Georgia native. Uh-huh. I grew up 20 miles east of that stadium in Stone Mountain, Georgia. So I was like, so it was amazing for me to come back home and play in that game, to be a part of the opening of that Georgia Dome.
There's a lot of debate among fans, which is better, the Dome or the Benz. I know a lot of people say they like the Dome because of the feel, and they like the Benz because of the amenities. Which one do you like?
I like the Benz. It's fan friendly. It's the lounge. It's the nightclub, it's the restaurant, whatsoever, and it's the networking and it's the socialization, and then there's football.
Mhm.
I like the Dome because it was about football.
Yeah.
And then it was the socializing and the networking and the food and all those things. You get all that luxury boxes and this and that. You tend to go to the bins just to see all the amenities and
You're
not
right.
the football game. But at the Georgia Dome, you went to see football. It was about football. You didn't have all those amenities.
You're
You
right
went
about
to,
that.
you went to see football, and that's what it was about. And I think that's the difference between the two.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with you. I think that plays a huge role in why people see less fans in the seats, is because there's more to do in the bins than there was in the Dome.
Right.
They're around there doing all type of things.
Yeah, exactly. There's so much to do. It's so much to see, pictures to take. Oh, that place is just, I'm like, it's a museum.
Exactly. Well, folks, this show's a wrap. We want to thank everyone for always tuning in. Please make sure that you subscribe and turn on those notifications so you get updates on all the new content. Again, I'm William Brandon. Terance?
Hey, let me tell you, don't forget, send in your new franchise team players, and then we're going to keep them. We're going to keep a track of, name your team, name your city, name your team. I already picked San Antonio Rough Riders. That's my team. You pick your team. Then when we get to draft time, we're going to start drafting to our team, and then we'll match them up. Let's have fun with this, guys. We can match it up. We can put it together. We'll put the top 6 teams together, and we'll play a game. How about that? We'll do a stat game. How about that? And that'll be fun. I think that'll be a lot of fun.
I like that. I like that. All right, everyone. Y'all have a great day. Thanks again.
Hey, peace.